Howdy folks, and welcome to the video review of Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class CrankCase. CrankCase is known as the Dread, or one of the Dreads. He is he's an SUV. I'm thinking he is a Chevy SUV specifically, modeled in all black. I have to admit, the all black modeling is a little boring. I'm kind of getting tired of SUVs being modeled in all black. He does have two ports for mech tech weapons. His mech tech weapon is a gun that turns into a big claw thingy, which when we get this guy transformed, that will make perfect sense. Again, I cannot figure out how to lock these things into place. I'm just an idiot. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at the transformation. This is actually pretty darn involved. We're going to start by just breaking the back open here. And coming in here and coming in here, pulling it straight out, and then folding this back section down, which will then be able to fold the feet out. So there we have the legs. We'll come up here in the front, and oh, I completely forgot. You can deploy giant pincers in truck mode. One major issue: very, very floppy, flimsy plastic. So we'll lift the hood up, and that will get that out of the way. We'll turn the figure on the underside and move the camera. We'll come over here to the doors and just kind of pull them off. And when we do that, we'll open the chest, what will be the chest, up a little bit. And that will enable us to pull the arms all the way up. And then when we move the arms, we can open what will be the chest all the way open. And that way we can get the dreads out of the way. See what they mean by dreads? Dread blocks. Now when you close it, you want to get the tabs that are on the underarms in line with the tabs inside the chest, and they will actually close right up on them. Alright, so we are almost done here. So let's go ahead and pull out the hips and twist the legs around to show those nice little feet we saw earlier. Then we can collapse the wheels in for some extra stability. And then we come in here and just fiddle around with the panels and flip out the arms and hands and futz with the dreads until we get them out of the way of his face. And then finally collapse the hood on his back and give him a nice set of pincers. And here we have CrankCase in robot mode. Oop, forgot one last thing. Just fold the rear of the vehicle up. And like I said, here we have CrankCase in robot mode. Now, I gotta admit, he's pretty dang imposing. I mean, that is a face only a mother could love. And that is a very cool Decepticon-y face. One thing you could do is the dreads are on a nice hinge here, so you can put them off to the side. You can drape them down his back, though that does screw with the head positioning a little bit, or you could just put them up in front. Now, I know some other folks have had issues with him with the dreads, but I generally like them the way they are. So I like this figure. I'm not gonna lie, I do like the figure. I think there's a little bit too much black, but I have some major problems with this guy. And it's probably just mine. It always seems to be just mine. First, and this isn't just mine, they clipped off his finger. Man, I mean, come on. It's very, very flimsy, soft plastic. If a kid pokes his eye out with that, he deserves to lose his eye. Oh, I forgot to move the wheels back. But still, I mean, come on. Really? I could fix that with some careful sculpting, but this plastic is so flimsy. The other issue I have is I can't get mine to stand up all that well. And the reason is these ball joints on his hips are very, very, very loose. Now, I have already given my figure a heck of a lot of treatment to keep them from sliding, to keep his hips from sliding around all that much. There's only so much I can do. Also, he really doesn't actually have feet. They're just kind of panels with toes on them. That's another issue, because if he's leaning forward, there's not enough friction on these hinges to actually hold it into place. Other than that, this figure looks awesome. Posability is really good. Hips are on ball joints, then there's a swivel joint just underneath the hip. The knee bends, and then there's a secondary knee in the shin that allows him to bend again. Doesn't have much play in the feet except for those two hinges on there. Arms are ball joint in the shoulder, swivel joint right underneath that, 90-degree elbow joint, and that's about it for the arms other than some in and out movements for the wrists. Head can move, but you don't want to because it just kind of ruins it. He does have some nice red light piping, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get going on here, but it does look cool. His weapon, he can't really hold it, but it does plug into his arm, and it looks rather menacing, I will admit. And if you can do this, rawr, rawr. So I really, really like the look of this figure. Unfortunately, I cannot recommend it, because as soon as you put some pressure on it, his legs just fall out from underneath him. And he just doesn't hold together all that well. You see me constantly fidgeting with things. If you get him in a pose and just leave him, he looks great. But otherwise, he's so fidgety and so many moving parts, he's constantly falling apart on me. I can't recommend him for that feature, for that reason. But otherwise, he's pretty darn cool looking.